So one of the most hawkish and idiotic senators has some thoughts for us on what Vladimir Putin is up to. Let's listen and then I'll react to it.
That's what Joe Biden needs to do. He needs to decide what the United States and NATO are going to do to put Vladimir Putin on the back foot. Because if we continue to blink every time Vladimir Putin says boo, it's not going to stop in Ukraine, it's not going to stop in Europe, we might as well call the commanding general at Fort Lewis outside Seattle and tell him to go take down the flag and surrender our position, because we will never stand up to Russia if every time Vladimir Putin says boo, we back down.
So Vladimir Putin may invade Seattle and take over a military base by Seattle if we don't do what? I think he's referring here to Biden refusing to do a no-fly zone, which of course is a direct conflict between two nuclear-armed powers, which would mean we are in World War III. He's saying because he's refusing to do that, he's making it possible and perhaps likely that Vladimir Putin will invade Seattle. The irony of this comment is that he's actually making it much more likely that there will be a war between the U.S. and Russia, but I got news for him. There will be no invasion of Cleveland or Miami or New York or Seattle. There will be nukes in the air, and it will end with nuclear annihilation and nuclear winter. So the action he's calling for is making it much more likely there is a war between the U.S. and Russia. In fact, he's calling for an active war against Russia by calling for a no-fly zone. And he's thereby making us all significantly less safe. He's making the world much more dangerous by calling for that. But in his own mind, he's flipped it like, oh, if we stand up to Russia now and do a no-fly zone, then, we're showing we mean business and we're being really tough, and then we'll end up winning. What's amazing to me, and we've seen this with Hannity, we've seen this with Trump, is that these idiots really have a total inability to think about retaliation or backlash or revenge, escalation. They think like if we do something, it's final. And what, you think that Russia doesn't respond, can't respond? I mean, they absolutely can and will and do. And they just don't think about this like it's chess. They don't think of 3, 4, 5 moves ahead. They're just like, I don't know. Just go to war now. Just bomb them now. And look at all the all the pressure on Biden is from the right. All the pressure is you're not being hawkish enough. You're not being aggressive enough. Even though Biden unleashed every sanction under the sun that's crushing and crippling the Russian economy and even screwing over Russian civilians, they turn around and say, not tough enough. We got to start shooting. We got to start firing. We got to start direct military actions against them. I mean, this is truly, truly psychotic stuff. And remember, Tom Cotton is a psycho, because one of the things that always pops to mind when I think of him is, I remember when he was talking about Guantanamo Bay and he was talking about torture, and he effectively said, we should do more torture, and we should definitely keep Guantanamo Bay open. And it's a good thing that we do those things. So he is a neocon imperialist hawk, and he's like literally one of the last people I would want in control of our foreign policy at a moment like this. If he was president, we already would have had a no-fly zone. We already would have shot down some Russian plane, and God forbid, everybody should be running to their nuclear fallout bunkers. But look at how willy-nilly and nonchalant and casual they are with the fate of humanity. Like, his only point is to be tougher, be more aggressive, do more sanctions, even though we did basically every single one. Do a no-fly zone. Do direct military actions against Russia. I mean, it truly is mind-blowing. And the thing is, with so many people repeating stuff like this over and over and over and over and over, it becomes, that impacts the conventional wisdom, and the conventional wisdom becomes like, duh, of course we should do those things. And people don't think about the second order, third order, fourth order consequences of this stuff. So truly crazy. And look, he said it, not me. Putin's going to invade Seattle if we don't do World War III. No, if we do what he's calling for, that is World War III, and there's no invasion of Seattle, there's just nukes in the air. So clearly he hasn't thought about this stuff thoroughly. Let's listen to it one more time. It's pretty short.
That's what Joe Biden needs to do. He needs to decide what the United States and NATO are going to do to put Vladimir Putin on the back foot. Because if we continue to blink every time Vladimir Putin says boo, it's not going to stop in Ukraine, it's not going to stop in Europe. We might as well call the commanding general at Fort Lewis outside Seattle and tell them to go take down the flag and surrender our position, because we will never stand up to Russia if every time Vladimir Putin says boo, we back down. That's what
There's also the hilarious angle of this that he's basically calling Joe Biden a bitch while saying he's afraid that Putin is going to invade Seattle. This is something that's obviously never going to happen, but he seems like he's scared by that. But it's Biden who's a bitch. Okay. All right, bro. All right. Thanks for your input.